Tesla Model 3 Long Range Edition, 2022 to be specific. So at this point, I've owned the car for about 15 or 16 months, well over the initial novelty period and hype aspect of it. What's owning the car been like for me? Purchasing experience and initial concerns. So I'll tell you, everything is done online, which was a very pleasant experience. You order online, you build, you do your deposits, some paperwork, then you go to the Tesla facility, pick it up, fill out a few forms, do your down payment, inspection, and off you go. You don't spend your entire day with a car salesman trying to negotiate and them trying to upsell you on things. So that aspect of it was very positive for me. Initial concerns that I had, however, like most switching from gas to electric, are how do I charge? Is range anxiety a thing? And are these reliable? And after a year and some change of ownership, I can tell you those were never really concerns for me and never really came into play, but I can definitely see how those are concerns. So we'll talk more about it. Now, I think it's important for me to paint a picture on how I use this car personally. It's both my leisure car as well as my work car, so a true daily driver. I work as a home health physical therapist, so I go all around the counties around here seeing patients, driving anywhere from 10 to, it's a big range, but 100 plus miles a day. And I encounter dirt roads, hills, city driving, all the above. It's worked fantastic for me. Now, thinking of who this car is best for, this car is honestly good for just about anyone as a daily driver. It's probably one of the best daily drivers that I can think of. But what you really have to consider is, do you have the environments and the surrounding to effectively accommodate this car, right? I'm thinking if I lived in my old apartment that didn't have a charging station, I probably wouldn't get this car. Sure, I could have brought it to the local supercharging network and charged it once every other day or so, but not only is that not cost effective, but it's inconvenient to do so. So if you have like a home that you can plug this into, then automatically I would say go and get it. If you have a supercharger around you in addition to the home where you can plug it in, even better. I know a lot of apartments are starting to build these little charging stations at the apartment complex, but just something to consider. Let's talk charging. So when I first got the car, I highly considered hiring an electrician to install an upgraded plug so I can charge the car faster overnight. I may still do so in the future, but they quoted me anywhere from $350 to $400, and I've seen up to $1,000 depending on where you live. So I think it's worth it though if you drive a lot. Right now for me, I just use a standard wall plug that you would use to charge your iPhone, and it gives me 15 to 20% charge overnight, basically what I need for the day. So I haven't seen a reason for me to upgrade just yet. It's been fairly inexpensive as well. Now the superchargers, I have a few around me, and there are a number of them throughout the state of Oregon. Very convenient, fast, fairly inexpensive, and reliable. I know in some states those supercharging stations are filling up pretty quick in their lines, but I personally have not experienced that. I think that the supercharging network alone is the reason that you get a Tesla over any other EV at this point in time, because the other ones, lots of inconvenience there when you're trying to charge, not at home. Here are the charging costs over the last year per the Tesla app, $591 for the entire year. It gives you a good breakdown here per month. You can click on it saying 82 spent, 75 spent, but earlier on I was driving more because I worked for a different company and I had to use more supercharging stations. So that, of course, is the more expensive way to charge, but $591 is kind of mind-blowing. I was spending about $70 to $80 a week on gas, and so that's about 2.5 months worth of cost there for the gas car for the entire year for the Tesla. Here are the cost savings. I think that's low on the low side for me because my car required premium gas, and of course that's more expensive than what this is taking, so not bad at all. Maintenance. I literally have not had to do anything with my car aside from two things: top off my windshield wiper fluid and rotate my tires once every 6,000 miles or so, and that's about it. So in total I spent maybe $25 on maintenance in the last year, which is absolutely insane. And there really isn't much you have to do with a car. Brake fluids every 2 years. There are a few other things that are, a few years apart, but other than that, it's a very low maintenance car. And any recalls I've had to do, there have been 3 or 4, have been all over the air updates, which has been very impressive. The downside for me is that my nearest Tesla, I guess it's not a dealership, but the nearest Tesla location where they work on your car, Tesla shop, is about a 3-hour drive. And around my area, there's not any mobile techs, but if you live in an area that they have them, you can request for service on your phone. And if it's something that they can do at your house, they'll just drive to your house and do it. So in that regard, owning a Tesla has been fantastic. Driving experience. My personal favorite part of owning a Tesla. The acceleration is instant. I have the long range model, not even the upgraded acceleration boost, not the performance, just the long range. And it's more than enough for just about anyone. I came from an Audi SQ5 and that car was fun to drive and accelerated fast, but an EV, it just hits different. Ready?
I'm as ready as I can be. I have no hands.
That was like half pedal too. The handling feels like at times I'm in a go-kart, which is both good and bad. It's fun to drive, and I'm surprised I haven't gotten pulled over. The visibility is excellent. Because there's no engine, you can see a lot more out the front windshield, and then around the car is excellent visibility as well. And because of that, as well as the sensors and the cameras, parking is super easy, even though it's a little bit longer of a car for a standard car. And overall, the driving experience, it just doesn't get old. The silence. One thing I've noticed about this car is that it is so silent. Some people don't hear it coming up, which can be a bad thing. Some animals as well, which has surprised me. But something else I've noticed regarding the silence is that some people, especially around here where there's a lot of pickup truck drivers, they come up and park next to me and they just rev their engine so loud. And this is little sports cars as well. Rev their engine so loud and it's almost like they want to race me. And then they accelerate, and then here I go, zooming past them, and it's dead silent. So it's always interesting and funny to experience that. Safety. One of the biggest pros to owning a Tesla is the comprehensive safety that you get with it. It scores excellent in crash rating, and the instant acceleration that I mentioned earlier, I feel like is a safety enhancer in itself because you can merge onto freeways instantly. If you see something that's sketchy, you can immediately get out of it versus trying to wait for the car to catch up. I think that in itself is huge. Another thing is the Sentry mode and the dash cam. Because I leave my car parked in random areas, sometimes sketchy neighborhoods, it's peace of mind for me to know that my car is recording everything that's going on around. So if there's a hit and run or someone does something, someone tries to go to your car and look around, the screen literally says you're being recorded. So that in itself is great. The dash cam, if I'm driving on the road and I see a car accident or something happened that I want to capture it on footage, I just honk my horn twice and it saves it to an SD card. One pedal driving. My favorite thing next to the acceleration of the car is really only having to use the gas pedal to drive. Gas pedal. When you press the acceleration pedal, of course, you go forward. But then as you ease off of it, it slows you down and can put you to a complete stop, puts energy back into the car, and you don't need to use your brakes unless you're going too fast and need to slow down fast, which I do sometimes. But it's tough to get used to at first, but once you do, it feels weird to go back to a standard car that doesn't have that. And I personally enjoy it. Storage. For a car this size, the storage is fantastic. So there's no engine, right? So you have the front, you have the trunk, you have a small compartment below the trunk, and then you have ample storage inside the car as well. I can fit most things I need in this car. I can put my entire golf bag in the trunk and it'll fit just fine. So for something this size, the storage is ample. The interior. This is where I have such a love-hate with this car and I get very passionate about. So first off, let's say the interior is very futuristic looking. The white seats enhance that. The glass roof, the combination of the white seats not only makes it look more spacious, but looks more futuristic. Everyone that comes and sits in the car shares that same sentiment, I believe. So in that regard, I love. The white seat upgrade itself, I totally think it's worth it. A concern that I had and most people have is, can you keep it clean? And a year and a half in, the white seats look brand new. I use baby wipes maybe once a month on them, but they absolutely look brand new and super easy to clean. I spilled a piece of chocolate the other day on it and from a protein bar, and it smeared and I was freaking out a little bit, but it came right off. So upgrade to the white seats, highly recommended. They're also some of the most comfortable seats I've ever had in a car as well. Very, very comfortable and they look awesome. Things that I hate or don't like is I feel like, I love how minimalistic it looks, but at the same time, I feel like it's too minimalistic, right? It's just one screen. I wish there were a few buttons for various things like the HVAC system. Specifically when I'm trying to change like the intensity of the air coming out, I feel like it's so touchy that half the time I don't get to where I want, and I have to take my eyes off the road in order to try to get it to the exact intensity that I want, which can be frustrating. Things like a heads-up display I think would enhance the interior tremendously. I'm surprised that Tesla hasn't added that because it would be perfect for this car. And then another thing, it's personal preference for me, but I love an enhanced ambient lighting in a car. I know in the newer models, Tesla added like a white dim ambient lighting like the footwell and various aspects of the car. But for the most part, I feel like having enhanced ambient lighting would make the car look so cool. And at nighttime right now, aside from those lights, I feel like it's just pitch black. So just a few kind of nitpicky things, but overall, it's a great interior. Autopilot, not something that I use often, but it works great. The standard one that comes with the car is like a enhanced kind of cruise control. It speeds you up when it needs to, slows you down when you need to, and overall works fantastic. For a while there was concern about phantom braking where the sensors would sense something that wasn't there and would stop you instantly. Has never happened to me, and I think that's largely resolved at this point in time. I could be wrong. You can buy like an enhanced autopilot package that has like summoning features. It makes the smart cruise control even faster and better with like quick lane changes. I don't have much experience with this, with that one, so I can't speak much on that. But then there's full self-driving, which is what I think most people that don't know anything about Tesla think of. $15,000 at this point. I think it's gone from a couple thousand to 15,000, and it's just not worth it in my opinion. The technology just isn't there yet to make it worth it, maybe in the future, but for now, I think that save your money there. So the autopilot that comes with the car though, it's great. Annoyances. There are really only 3 things that have annoyed me over the last year and a half. The first being the car key. So if you didn't know, you use your phone as a car key. You can use a little fob as well that you buy that's extra, or the little cards that look like credit cards as the keys. Phone, of course, being the most convenient. You leave it in your pocket. When you walk up to the car and open it, it should automatically open. You use it to drive, start the car instantly. And when you walk away, it locks the car. Great. But when it doesn't work, it's very annoying. Sometimes when I walk up to the car, I try to open the trunk. I press the trunk button 5 times. It doesn't open. My hand's trying to open the door. 30 seconds later, it finally opens. So you're standing there looking like a weirdo. I know sometimes when you open your phone and open the app, it fixes it, but it's still kind of an inconvenience that I feel like could be fixed pretty easily with a software update. Number 2 is the fit and finish. Now, Tesla's notorious for poor fit and finish. They're a newer company, so I'll give them some slack there, but over the years, it's gotten better. But some people get cars with very wide panel gaps. Things are poorly put together. My car itself had some of those issues, but it wasn't make or break. But right now, every few weeks, I hear a new creaking in my car, a new sound, and I can't identify what it is. It goes away, comes back. The current issue is a staticky noise in the top right speaker. It could be the wiring, but it's not always there. But when it is there, it's really annoying. And it's at the point where, do I want to drive 3 hours to Tesla to have them look at it and it not be an issue while I'm there? So just those sounds that come from the inside of the car, the noise that comes when you drive, it's a loud car. It's not a quiet car on the inside. So those things have been annoying for me. Number 3, I'm combining a few things here, but it's how hot the car gets as well as the battery percentage associated with very cold or warm climates. So the car gets so incredibly hot. Someone tried to argue with me in the comments in my last Tesla video saying every car gets hot, but because of the glass roof, this car gets especially hot, especially on sunny days. Sometimes it's like 140 degrees in the car. And yes, of course, I can turn on the AC and it helps, but it's still extremely hot because I'm sitting there for 20, 30 minutes at a time doing documentation for my work. So the heat aspect in itself, because of the glass roof, it gets really hot in the car, more so than other cars, I would say. In addition to that, with cold and warm climates, the battery percentage isn't going to be accurate at all. So I think I haven't drove my Tesla in a cold environment like Minnesota, where I'm from. But the battery percentage drains so fast. I saw a few posts about that. What I experience here in the summer with the heat, the battery drains so fast because of the AC, of course. but that makes the battery percentage itself just not accurate. So just something to be mindful of. But those things are just very minor annoyances for me. Now, to wrap this up, do I have any regrets with buying the Tesla Model 3? I would say for the most part, no. The only regret I really have is that I didn't get a Model Y. And they're basically the same car, just different sizes, right? And the only reason why I wish I got the Model Y is for higher ground clearance. Because like I said, I drive in a lot of different terrains and dirt roads. Sometimes I feel like my car is kind of bottoming out on some of those uneven terrains where the Model Y would fix that completely. So if I could go back, I would probably get a Model Y. But back then when I bought in February 2022, the Model Y was quite a bit more expensive. In this day and age, that price has come down. There's a tax credit. So I may upgrade to the Model Y in the future. Right now, I'm holding off on that just because the interest rates are ridiculous. But yeah, that's really the only regret I have is not getting the Model Y specific to my job and my situation. But the Model 3 has been fantastic. So I hope you guys found this video beneficial. If there's any questions or anything you want to discuss, leave a comment below. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you all in the next video. Tito checking out. Peace, guys.